Christian, over to you.
Thank you very much. All right, and we'll kick go. It's my first time of trying to do 20 slides, 20 seconds each, so forgive me if I go over with some of them. As we talked about today, I'm going to give a quick snapshot as to what social innovation looks like, what it means in Australia, and some of the conditions that we uniquely face within our context, and hopefully give you some really good examples of work that's happening. So the Australian Centre for Social Innovation was established in late 2009 as a not-for-profit organisation, but it came out of a program led by the South Australian government. We're an incubator, we're an intermediary, and my boss, Brenton, who you saw in the video, likes to call us a do tank. The conditions, the economic conditions of Australia are really important for understanding our social innovation context. In the top left, we've got an extraordinary high GDP growth continuing after the GFC. We have extraordinarily high terms of trade still. We have extremely low public debt in comparison to the rest of the world. And what that all means, I guess, is that the amount of investment in social outcomes, in social innovation, has grown quite considerably, sixfold in fact, from 1992-93 to today. 77% of that has been funded by government and by higher education institutions. The range of social problems in Australia aren't unique particularly to Australia. They're the same ones that we face all around the world. Ageing societies, low public confidence in democratic institutions, huge issues around industry and the economy and growth, and social exclusion and things like that. This is a distorted version of some of the organisations that have begun to emerge over the last 4 or 5 years in Australia, from co-working spaces and the Social Innovation Exchange Australia to higher institutions that are investing in research and development to hubs around the country. The role of Australian government and governments across Australia has been particularly significant for the progression of social innovation. As Jeff mentioned, we're experimenting with a range of things around social impact bonds. We've got an action plan at the Australian government national level looking at how the public service can better innovate. We have a $10 million innovation fund. These are some examples of some fantastic innovations that are specifically happening. So Chris Rain here has started a global movement called Hello Sunday Morning, where people commit to not drinking for 3 months. I'm currently going through that process, which is extraordinarily difficult. In 2 years, he's nearly got 5,000 people in Australia, New Zealand, and now in the UK who signed up to make that commitment. Renew Newcastle is catalysing community renewal, economic development, the arts, and creative industries across Australia. So they take empty spaces that are disused, empty buildings, and enabling opportunities for people to be able to go in there and put creative and artistic businesses and models and testing them out. Around You is an entirely new concept for us in Australia. It's the first time we've ever tried to bring together all the various cultural and community activities and make them accessible via the internet. So you go in and you type in your postcode and you can find out about things that are happening around you in your local community to connect you together. 2012 being the UN International Year of Cooperatives is an amazing opportunity in Australia where cooperatives still have a very understated sort of role and not many people know about the work of cooperatives. So there's a lot of work happening around the country through lots of different forms of collaboration and cooperation to raise that profile. Space Cubed is probably the newest example of co-working that we're playing with in Australia. This has opened in Western Australia. Taxi is organising a co-working space in Adelaide. There's the Hub, which is an international model that's based in Melbourne. There's VibeWire in Sydney. So there's a variety of ways for people to work together and come together. Social Traders is quite a unique organisation based in Victoria. They work specifically around growing social enterprise and social procurement. So they do so through things like intermediary funds like The Crunch, developing social enterprise finding tools online. Solved is a taxi venture which we established to help share what works. Often in innovation we think that we have to create new things, but a lot of the time it's about sharing things that are already working in our local communities. So this is a platform, a crowdsourcing platform for people in the community to let the rest of Australia know about things that are happening and working for them. Radical redesign is a particular approach that we're using at the Australian Centre for Social Innovation, which is around redesigning our social systems and redesigning social solutions with end users, with people who are living in that experience. And this is an example of some work we've been doing around ageing societies and the way we care for people. We're also doing a lot of work around how we actually teach others this approach, this radical redesign approach. And we have 12 people from around the world who are with us for 18 months, developing a new and prototyping a new curriculum for social problem solving using this design method, business thinking, and social science thinking. Family by Family is our first homegrown social venture at the Australian Centre for Social Innovation, which has come out of the design thinking process, where we've worked with over 100 families in South Australia to address issues around social support and stress for families and for children. And finally, Starting School is a demonstration project we've been doing with the Australian government, exploring ways in which co-design and that radical redesign approach might be used in the public sector to enable the public sector to make more efficient and more effective social designs for public policy and public systems. Social Innovator Dialogues is, I guess, our attempt at doing a lot of this networking stuff where we've been bringing global thinkers and thought leaders from around the world to Australia to talk to policymakers, to talk to social innovators, and to share examples of things that are happening all around the world. So that's a very, very quick snapshot of what's happening in Australia around social innovation today.
Thank you, Christian. Indeed, it was very quick, but hopefully has given you some idea. And, of course, Christian's here all day, so plenty of time to talk to him a little bit further about what he does. Now I'm really excited to come back to Asia, and I'm really looking forward to hearing from Patrick CHEUNG, who is going to tell us about the context of social innovation in Hong Kong. Patrick has many titles. It would probably take me 6 minutes 40 to tell you about all of the organisations that Patrick's involved in. So we're just going to introduce him for now as the chairman of the Hong Kong Social Entrepreneurship Forum. So, Patrick, thank you.
Thank you, Louise. Could you do that for me? I'll just start. Okay. Yeah, so it's my first trial also, so I do my best. What's new in Hong Kong? I adopt a little different approach. I'm talking about what is happening in different segments of the social innovation and social entrepreneurship community. One unique feature, I feel at least from our community, is highly collaborative. And SE Summit happened in every November in Hong Kong for the 5th years now. Is a good example of it. Under the leadership of Dr. Janie, we are including a lot of sponsors, supporters, and we work all of this together. MED, of course, under leadership of Ada, we stimulate youth by giving them a lot of different ideas, allow them to participate, and wonderful speakers. And the 4th MED is coming. We have nurtured a group of impact investors. Hong Kong is a finance center, so with Show Asia, Social Venture Hong Kong, and Social Investment Club, and River Star Foundation. So we organize a meeting among practitioners as well as trying to interest other people from the finance sectors. Masterclass, Dr. KK Chair bring these ideas from New Zealand, and it's not just the work of the social entrepreneurship that's important. They need also mutual support. So we organize this masterclass to get the leaders together to share the challenge. And right now we have so many different type of competition. I think smart young people could really win a lot of prize and continue the dream. And that's a good development in Hong Kong. Social Venture Hong Kong, we are moving also away from the government statement of social enterprise, which is helping the address the poverty by moving to a more business model. Diamond Cab helping the transportation problem, and Table for Two, Green Monday is good examples. Of course, the success of Dialogue in the Dark in Hong Kong using very entrepreneurial approach, using all the private capital to start up this operation, and we are really declaring dividend this year. So the first one to declare dividend in Hong Kong. And J Club we are calling for 20 million Hong Kong dollar investment. We would like to address the massive scale of the elderly care problem. And hopefully we could become one of the mainstream company as a social enterprise. And we also see many young people start to jump into this space. And on the left is Alan. He start with happiness. He just call people and organize a conference. He's having a full-time job while doing this. And another is having a client service to the hospital. And this is another initiative targeting at secondary school students, all these Form 3 students around 15 years old, and they are trying to take a positive action against something they are passionate about. So, and we see a lot more partnership between corporate and social business. Concert in the Dark between CSL and Dialogue in the Dark, and also Cheer Cafe and Vicki. Many every year we have this type of example. And another great success is Happy Veggie. We connect the deaf community with celebrities and also social entrepreneurs to start up this vegetarian restaurant mandated by our deaf employees. Extremely successful also. It's a huge movement within the Christian church, trying to use social entrepreneurship, social innovation as a space as a demonstration how they learn from the teaching of the Bible. And two leading NGO in Hong Kong, they are seeking change agent. They are just having a social entrepreneur as their CEO, which is very a big change from the past. So hopefully we could see more change under the leadership of these CEOs. And we see also from the New Life, they are NGO, very traditional NGO, addressing the mental illness, but they transform themselves totally into a lifestyle company. Radical change, extremely successful. This change is important to the NGO sectors, and we see a lot of NGO also starting ecotourism and running the projects in a sustainable manner. There's a good example is cycle. I forget the name of this. Bicycle line, yeah. And this year we are also happy to get a lot of our university excited in developing curriculum for social entrepreneurship and social innovation. And efforts was set up to have one-day conference inviting experts from US and abroad and having a conference on these subjects. And Dr. KKJ is starting Education for Good, a new SC to spearhead innovative and scalable education program, especially in view of the huge need from the newly emerging interests from the tertiary education sectors. And Riverstar is kicking off a mapping exercise. Main is here and Philo, and both of them are talking to people across different fields and trying to collect ideas how the whole sector could continue to develop. The last, of course, held up also by Ada, is a new 20,000 square feet collaborative co-working space. We hope this is a good incubator for all the social innovators in the future. And given the scale, how expensive real estate is in Hong Kong, this is really good news to us. Okay, I hope I cover everything. Thank you. Yeah.
Patrick, thank you so much. That was very insightful. There's clearly a huge amount going on. And no doubt you will have many questions and people coming to talk to you later on. For now, I would like to move to mainland China. And I'm going to invite Tony Yet, who is the founder of TED to China, to come up and talk. And Tony will not just be talking on behalf of himself, but I know he has worked with CHEUNG to develop this presentation. So he will talk about the whole of mainland China and social innovation in the next 6 minutes and 40 seconds. Best of luck. Thanks, Tony.
So, thank you, Louise. I guess my talk would be quite biased, as biased from a young person's perspective. So I will start with my own journey into how I got into this field, and then I will end with a kind of a question for you all. So kind of a little bit of my own personal journey. So this is kind of the TED logo for those of you who know TED. I started TED to China like 3-4 years ago with a friend, and since then I've come to know social innovation and social enterprise, and got to know the field both from China and outside of China. So here I would like to introduce you to some of the initiatives in mainland China. This is the kind of competition hosted by Lenovo and Intel to kind of pick out some of the best social innovation projects from the bottom up. But the problem with these kind of initiatives is that they are more like doing it in the CSR way. They are not really nurturing the community. They are not really nurturing the social innovators. And even if these things like this that are done by the by the government, and they call it like the China Social Innovation Award, but there is really nothing really innovative at all from many of us who are based in mainland China. But the thing that I really want to point out is that the real innovation in mainland China does not come from the top down. It will come from the bottom up, and it will come from the margins. It will come from the fringes. So let's forget about the big name prizes or competitions hosted by some Tencent or Sina. Let's forget about that. Let's go to the internet and go to where the real problems are and see what the opportunities is. So I put up this slide because this is a real positive signal from the Chinese government, in that the Chinese government has realized that social construction, as defined by them, would be kind of a very important focus for the government. And with this policy, many local innovations, NGOs could happen. And the real, grassroots innovations would happen like this. So this is a group of real young people. Many of them, my friends. They won a bicycle lane in Guangzhou, but the city government is not really hearing them. So they come up with the idea. They give a bicycle, a made in Guangzhou bicycle, to the mayor of Guangzhou, and they did it. And what they did was reported by CCTV and many other newspapers and televisions. And also we have many bottom-up open design workshops and initiatives. This was hosted by 1kg Mall. They are doing the innovation toolbox for rural children, and they are doing it and they're starting these events, initiatives from, Douban, which is kind of like a Chinese Facebook for me, in my definition. And also people are taking up initiatives or problems like this, like the water problem. They are taking it themselves as their personal problem, and it's kind of like they're scratching their own itch. And in this way, they are not really answering to some, corporate or government, demand, but they are answering their own needs, answering their own problems. So this is a more powerful way to move social innovation forward for mainland China, for a place that is still not really democratic, and we are still, under heavy restriction. And some very interesting signals, like the one that just showed, that are China Education Innovation Symposium, that are hosted by overseas, students studying in overseas, like in US or in UK. So what I have just shown are just kind of some perspectives. They are not necessarily right perspectives, or perspectives that are kind of in the mainstream, but I do believe that it is these marginal perspectives that matter, that we really need to look into. But the real missing block of this puzzle is that we do not really have much bridge in the social innovation sector in mainland China. It's like people are working in silos. They, like, designers are not talking to programmers, and programmers are not talking to policymakers not talking to people like you. So that's why we need kind of maybe a sixth China. Thank you.
Tony, thank you so much. We really, really appreciate your input today. I should also say that we're not that mean, and we recognise that many of you are here, most of you here, are speaking in a second language. It's very ignorant of us in the UK to expect you to do that in 6 minutes 40, so we extended your slide time a little bit. Sorry. Thank you. Next, I'm delighted to welcome, all the way from Japan, Professor Maria Ikeda. So, Professor Ikeda is from the School of Economics at Japan University of Hyogo, but she also works on the Japan Social Innovation Journal. Professor Ikeda has literally just come for the day, so it's an honor to have her with us. Please.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I think it's good afternoon. No, it's good noon. Thank you very much for having me here today. And I'm from the University of Hyogo, which is in Kobe. And I'm also the editor of Japan Social Innovation Journal, which Mr. Jeff Mulgan has been very, very kind enough to support. He is in our editorial board. I'm going to talk about social innovation in Japan. As Mr. Mulgan said, that social innovation is a new term, but it has been going on for a long time. In Japan, in particular, Japan is an industrial power, but it is also very rich in culture, and most people think that for tradition to be instead of being protected, it should be continued, and it should be a stimulus for innovation. And that's one of the things that I think is the dilemma in Japan at the moment. I am originally from the Philippines, but I did my graduate studies in Japan, in Kyoto. And living in Kyoto for the past 2 decades, I've learned about topophilia, which is a sense of pride in place, a sense of being able to know about the strengths and the weaknesses of a certain place and be able to build on that. And for places like traditional cities like Kyoto, there's always this delicate balance of old and new, of trying to be able to build on what's been there for centuries and innovate and create new things. So you have the combination of traditional industries in Kyoto as well as high-tech industries such as you have Rome, you have Nintendo, you have Nidec in Kyoto. But the past year has been a huge debacle in Japan. There were two greatest disasters. One was in Kobe in 1995, which was the Great Awaji Hanshin earthquake in western Japan. And last year there was the northeastern Great East Japan earthquake. It was these two earthquakes, these two disasters, which actually triggered a lot of social innovation in Japan. These are just figures. I know you've seen a lot of YouTube images about the damage of the earthquake in Tohoku, but this is just comparing the two great disasters in 1995 and 2011. The biggest difference is that in Kobe, it was in a metropolitan city where you would have seen that police forces were almost triple of what were being dispatched in Tohoku. These are our students, University of Hyogo students, helping out in clearing out the rubble in Miyagi Prefecture. They were collaborating with university students also in University of Miyagi, and they were there for traveling. Oh, what happened? Oh, sorry. Traveling more than 800 kilometers to help out with clearing out the streets of the mud from the tsunami. After the earthquake, there has been even now, there's a huge energy crisis in Japan, and it was the help of private sector. A lot of public-private partnerships have come out because of to find solutions and to instigate and to have initiative for trying to solve the energy crisis now in Japan. So many of these things are being done at the community level, and communities at work we have here are from Miyagi. Some of the evacuees are being dispersed all over Japan, and some of our old new towns have hosted some of these evacuees from the Northeast. One particular old new town is the Meimai Danchi, the Meimai Housing Institute, where we have some evacuees from Ibaraki Prefecture, which is in the Northeast. And we also have NPOs. He is Toshihiro Nakamura. He is the CEO of Copernic. It is an online marketplace for technologies for developing countries, which started in 2010. They are online, and he believes that empathy, creativity, and technology actually make things happen. This is how Copernic works. They have the so-called CD contest. It's a C design contest. Mostly engineers, young engineers from Tokyo University, from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, they try to develop new technologies not for the disaster areas, but actually for developing countries. So they are trying to connect all groups of organizations which are financing these projects for NGOs at the grassroots level. And these are some of the products that they have developed through the seed contest. But actually these products were used also as emergency devices in the tsunami and earthquake last year. So these were life-changing technologies and products that were originally made for developing countries, but they were also used in the relief efforts sent by Copernic. I am going to introduce you also to one particular project started in 2006, the One Village, One Product campaign of the Japanese government. this widespread introduction of the Japanese consumers. They're actually part of fair trade, trying to have products from Asian and African countries being sold in Japan. And what the JICA or the JETRO does is to provide technical assistance. One particular project is something that is being done actually in Japan. So they're not only teaching less developed countries, but they're also actually doing these one village, one product in Japan. And this started, the Irodori project in Tokushima, Japan, started in the 1970s. And Mr. Yokoishi is the person who came to this small village, Kamikatsucho, in Tokushima, Japan. What he tried to develop was these elderly people who went up to the mountains and plucked some leaves. And what they did with the leaves was they neatly packed it, and they neatly tried to make different design, what we call, I think in the next slide it will be the tsumamono, which is being sold to expensive restaurants and expensive travel inns, what we call ryote in Japanese. When you eat sushi or you eat sashimi, these are the leaves that you see, and they are actually very expensive because they're part of the packaging and aesthetic value of the Japanese culture. And most of these are actually being packed and processed and hand processed by these elderly